Whoa!
JoJo, we're recording.
Oh, sorry, we're recording. Okay. All right. What is the book we are reading tonight?
We are reading HollyHonk Gardens, something.
I think. Let me see it. HollyHonk Gardens of Gneedle and Gnibb. I think that's what it says.
Yep, that's what it says.
Okay, let's
go. A book about forgiving is also what.
A book about forgiving. Book about forgiving.
Okay.
Okay. Gneedle helped Gnibb while seeding and weeding, and borrowed his tools, just some things he was needing. A small pair of clippers, some garden sweepers, a shovel, a pitchfork, a hose and a hoe, and some Zoomaloom dust, which made everything grow. Then in the evening, on every queer night, they sat by the gardens and they watched in the white. As the blinkins and friggleworts went up so bright, and the dumbleweeds drumbled, the big boomers wumbled, and the hollyhocks presently murmured and mumbled. Because of the beautiful sparkle and sound, not a thistle nor thorn could grow near the ground. On one summer's day, Gneedle needed a pail, so she borrowed a bucket Gnibb kept on a nail. And as he was crossing the garden toward home, whack! Awake! As it smacked the poor gnome. Show the picture. No, I want you to show the picture so they can see how it whacked him in the nose. Yeah, got him white in the nose. Yeah. Not very cool.
I think that's Gneedle. Poor Gneedle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ouch! Hollered Gneedle, glaring at Gnibb, rubbing her noggin, her nose, and her rib. You left at this weight, so I would trip. Now look at my nose, you poor puffy lip. I can't see the bottom.
Oh.
It's all your own fault, Gnibb snorted at Gneedle, and put back my bucket, you burgling beetle.
This is them bickering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway. Perfect.
Oh. They stared and they glared for a minute or more. Then they both stomped away, stormed inside, slammed the doors. If that's what he wants, Gneedle snorted, then that's fine. But until he is sorry, he is no friend of mine. Later that night, she heard pounding outside. So she looked out the window and guess what she spied? Gnibb was building a big wooden fence. She thought for a moment, and that made no sense. Gnibb was so mad. I'm trying to weave. Okay. Gnibb was so mad and his temper so bad, he was fencing out Gneedle with a crafty old cad. Please hold it more strong. Yeah. Gneedle could hear all the HollyHonks hooting. I can't weave with all the pages are moving. That actually kind of wound. I think I wrote this book or something. Okay. Gneedle could hear all the HollyHonks hooting. Oh, how she hated the tweeting and tooting. So promptly she gathered some mortar and stone and got to work building a wall of her own. So rude. For 3 weary weeks, those 2 sniveling sneaks hoisted and hammered with dirt on their cheeks. And when they were done, they looked up in the sky his fence and her wall stood 100 feet high. Not a sight nor a sound could ever get by. Gneedle popped down on her doorstep and scowled. I have to look at him now, Gneedle growled. Then she glared at the ground and bitterly frowned, for all of her flowers had withered and browned. All but one sprout, just a leaf peeking out, and that would die too, Gneedle hadn't a doubt. So she shuffled her bed with an ache in her head, and while she was sweeping, silently weeping, a thicket of thistles came quietly creeping. Bitterbush blare, a nip and a nistle, began to take root and to shoot and to settle.
Settle.
Yeah, settle.
Settle.
When Gneedle awoke, they had grown up the wall. They had sprawled, they had crawled.
JoJo, you got to get into the camera.
Okay, sorry. I'm not very good at this. I think everybody knows I'm not very good at this. Anyway, when Gneedle awoke, they had grown up the wall. They had sprawled, they had crawled, they had covered it all. They filled the sky with their thistles and thorns, and the sun could not shine through those horrible horns. Gneedle sat down on her porch and gloom, and wished she could hear just one boomer plant boom. She thought about Gnibb, how they used to have fun, how they used to have gardens that grew in the sun. She wondered, oh, what have I done?
Can they see that good, JoJo?
I think they can.
Hold up, let me see.
Hold up, she said, hold up.
Okay, JoJo.
Okay, I'm going to read the rest of the book for the children. She noticed Gnibb's stuff, all that stuff in the stack, all that stuff she had borrowed and never brought back. It's all my fault, she sniffled. I've lost my best friend. If he knew I was sorry, this whole mess would end. But the wall was too high with those thorns in the sky, and she sat on her doorstep and started to cry.
Okay, JoJo.
Oh. And that's when he saw it, all covered with rust. Gnibb's little can of Zuma Bloom Lust. Her one tiny chance, the last of her plants, would live to grow up and glow and to dance.
It's very hard to separate JoJo, focus.
So she ran to her garden, all buried in briars. She propped up her grow root with branches and wires, and sprinkled the Zumba dust all over the ground. She weeded and watered and stirred it around. Through the hot, hazy day and the chilly night air, she showered that flower with love and, I can't see because your phone's in the way, with care. Till sorrow and sleepiness clouded their eyes, and she drifted in dreams of forgotten blue skies.
Oh. Sorry, JoJo.
Okay.
This page or this page?
Hey. She awoke to the shock of a bright yellow glow. She climbed to her feet, startled and slow. And there in the air, her flower so fair was shining and shimmering, bright as a prayer. The sky filled with creaking, and quackling and quabbling. The briars were dying, the fences were tumbling. With one mighty crash, the whole wild toppled down and tangled together with weeds in the ground. Show the picture. This is a good picture.
That picture?
Show the flower, and then
It like the slide just went. Made all the rocks.
Yeah. That's a good one. Probably the best picture of the whole book.
Yeah.
Out of the smoke, with a shouting smile, came jolly old Gnibb, hopping over the pile. Gnibb! Gneedle cried, with her arms open wide. Won't you forgive me, my meanness and pride? As they forgave one another with hugs, the sand and the grass and the thorn eating the bugs swallowed up all those bitterbrush weeds, the roots and the shoots, and even the seeds. So now in the forest of Green Gully Grove, you'll find two gnomes by their homes in the cove. Their HollyHonks, boombas, and blinkins are growing, and hootin' and tootin' and gleaming and glowing. Sometimes I do some tootin'. But there's not a bitterbrush briar nearby, and if you look closely, you'll figure out why.
Okay.
Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ God forgave you. Ephesians 4:32.
NIV.
Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss.
And then that's the picture, and then that's like just the picture. Yeah.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Bye. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you want to. And we'll see you in the next video.